Sometimes when there is a big festival or celebration coming up, we can start to feel overwhelmed and perhaps have some holiday fatigue. So for instance, during this Halloween season, it can sometimes be overwhelming. Sometimes we put too many expectations on ourselves, but also with the influx of all the social media apps that we can be on, and everywhere we go, we can kind of be bombarded with certain messages of what our holidays, our festivals, our celebrations are supposed to look like, how they're supposed to be. And all this can just feel draining sometimes. So I just wanted to share a few ideas for how to maybe embrace, recognize the holiday fatigue you may sometimes feel. First up is just recognizing how you feel and accepting that it's okay. You don't have to be super into a holiday, a festival, a celebration every year. And to maybe try to release some of the expectations you may be putting on yourself. This is especially true if you live in a household that is more than just one person and you're the person who's sort of looked to do everything, to plan the celebrations, to decorate, to be the one to get everyone in the mood. It can be a lot of pressure, and sometimes maybe we're putting too much pressure on ourselves, and we may want to consider how we can delegate or share some of the responsibility if we have certain traditions we want to maintain. It's important to not always put everything just on ourselves. For myself personally, I find it useful to slowly move into the season. And part of this is really releasing the idea that any festival, celebration, observance time is just one day. I really moved into more of seeing things as being seasonal transitions, times for embracing different ideas, and this has really let go of some of the anxiety that can come around certain dates and festivals and celebrations, because it's not all leading up necessarily to one day for me. It's really embracing what the season has to offer, what it's teaching me, and for all of the different times of the year, allowing some quiet space, because maybe sometimes you don't have to do a lot with other people, you don't have to present a certain way. It can just be sitting down to create stillness within yourself to see what the season is offering you this year and what you are learning from it. Since I have a more spiritual worldview, I do believe that the different seasons are offering us different ways to connect with the spiritual realm, and that again, it's not just one day, it's a season that allows us different ways to tune in to that spiritual side. Let go of any expectations of how things are supposed to be or how they are supposed to look, especially during this time where we're just more visually bombarded with how things are supposed to look. Again, it can feel very overwhelming and maybe puts us in too much of a space of trying to make things look perfect. It's good to try to let that go. If we're looking at being inspired by what's around us, maybe you just want to take out that one decoration that you really enjoy and just put that one decoration out, or put one thing on your sacred space or your altar space that lets you tap into this season. Again, it doesn't have to be a lot. It can just be that one thing that allows you to connect with the spirit of the season that you're in. For this October season, it can be really good to just choose one simple thing that you want to do. Perhaps it's a Halloween movie that gets you into the spirit of the season, or perhaps there's a short story or a poem that you can read. Just doing that one simple thing to allow yourself to recognize the season and be a part of it can be enough. Or you can also just make time again to do a meditation or a prayer around this October season. And it doesn't have to be anything more than that. I'll link below to a Samhain meditation that I have that perhaps you'd like to try. It's just a short meditation. It doesn't have to be a long session if that's not something that you have time for this year. Again, it can be carving out the smallest amount of space that works for you. And lastly, when we're looking at this October season, it's important to remember that this is also the season that's inviting us to rest and to sleep more. If you live in the Northern Hemisphere, our nights are getting much longer, and part of this is inviting us to take a bit of a rest. Our ancient ancestors, they worked really hard during the summer and during the most of the autumn season. As we moved into late autumn and winter, it was a time to have more rest. It was a time to look at what was harvested and still have to prepare to save the food, but also again, to have some more rest. So perhaps this year, this season, or any season you may be feeling fatigue around this time, it is the seasonal way of the world and your body telling you you need a little extra rest, you need a little extra quiet, and it's important to make sure to listen to that and to give yourself that time for rest and quiet. Thanks so much for spending time with Gently Being.